everyone, and welcome to Ukikicast Episode 3. With me, your host, OneTed59, as always, with a special guest today, a legendary member of the SM64 community, real old school in here. We have Quate. How you doing, Quate?
Oh, I'm excellent. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's okay. This only took how many weeks to do?
Oh, only a few. Only a solid few.
Like 4? Sorry about that. Been a little busy due to stuff. But in the meantime, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I got my hand in a whole bunch of different projects, so I'm kind of trying to balance them all. Not in a bad way, in kind of a good way. I just kind of let my, with the current virus situation, I'm kind of just letting my mind go wherever it goes. And
wait, what situation? What are you talking about?
Yeah, the whole.
No.
You might not have heard about it, but there's recent news of a recent outbreak in China. You might have seen it in today's newspaper dated December 18, 2019. I don't know.
Dang, I really did wait a while to record this podcast, didn't I? Yeah, so this is Quate. Quate's a legendary SM64 member, but for those people who aren't really involved very much in the SM64 community, who are you? Why are you on the podcast? What do you do?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if nobody listening to this knew who I was. That wouldn't offend me. It wouldn't surprise me. I kind of lurk in the background. I've been involved with the community since, I would say, 2007, 2006, somewhere, one of those years. And the interesting thing, I guess, the reason I'm a guest is that I never really left. I was here the whole time in various capacities from the beginning to the modern day. So I have insight to lend, I guess you could say.
Dang. Yeah, you've really been... How long have you been in the community? How many years has it been?
Well, I guess since 2007, that would be something like 13 years. And given that my current age is 23, I was a mere 10-year-old or so at the time. I didn't even get... I had to ask my mom permission to create a YouTube account. So I didn't have a YouTube account until 2008.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, I've been around for a while.
Yeah, 2008. That's way before me. I think I joined in 2014? Way past your era.
Right. Yeah, and the funny thing is that you and I, Ted, do I call you Ted in this?
Yeah, I can call me Ted.
Okay. We're in the same Facebook group chat.
We were?
Back in 2000, I guess it was 2015. We'll go into it, but I kind of divide the eras of Mario 64 into maybe 7 or 8 distinct eras. Geez. Yeah, there are a lot of them. And that was maybe 2 eras ago. Kind of interesting.
Dang, you really have been here for a while. That's crazy.
Been here for a while. Yeah, seen a lot of stuff.
So, let's go through this in order of the eras, I guess. So,
yeah.
How did you join the SM64 community? What got you into it?
That's a great question. So, as with all things that happened 13 years ago, my memory's hazy, but what I do remember is I think I was in middle school and I was on Google Videos. And this was before Google Videos went away. I don't know if YouTube existed yet, so this might have been 2003, 2004. I guess it was elementary school for sure. It was definitely elementary school now that I think about it, because this was really 2004 or 5. I saw a video of the 16-star speedrun. And I think it was TAS, but it was, not good because it was TAS in 2004 or whatever.
Yeah.
Of a guy doing a 16-star speedrun. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And I was in 4th grade. So I went home. I was, because I was watching on a desktop in the library at school.
Yeah.
And I went home and I tried it. And after 4 or 5 days of trying, I mean, kids don't have anything else to do, so I was trying forever.
Yeah.
I got it. I managed to do a 16-star speedrun, which was amazing. It felt amazing to beat this game because I've been playing this game. Holy shit. I guess the story starts even earlier. I've been playing this game since I was 2 or 3.
Jeez.
I started really young because my brother had all these old video game consoles. I would say old because back then it was SNES, which had come out before I was born. Mm-hmm. N64 was still not new because the GameCube was about to come out or had just come out, but it was around, and my brother liked N64 games, and so I did too. So I played Mario 64 when I was very young. I eventually beat it 2 or 3 years later, and that was an amazing feeling to get all 120 stars. I would go on websites like this guy, I forget his name, something Waddell or something like that. There was this like secrets of Mario 64 website, and I would go on that sometimes. Okay, so fast forward to back when I watched this video. I tried the 16 star speedrun. This was 4th grade. I invited friends over for my birthday party back then.
Oh, man.
I swear to God, I sat them down on my couch in front of my TV and made them watch me do a 16 star speedrun. And it took, 25, 30 minutes, something like that.
Oh, no.
I have no idea how they didn't hate me afterwards, but
30 minutes is actually not that bad of a time.
It was pretty good. Yeah, I was getting pretty good at it. I mean, to be fair, it's just do all the stars as fast as you can, do about a star a minute, and you're pretty good. So
that's fair.
Yeah. So, okay. So you mentioned how I got into the community. Fast forward a couple years later, I started seeing videos by a guy named Bick Dip on a Bus. He was a funny Let's Player. I was really big into Let's Plays for a while. I don't exactly recall how I found him, but in any case, he posted videos of the video quiz, and we can go into that. But that was how I ended up joining, is through his videos. I found the video quiz on game FAQs. Some people call it Game Facts. I, for some reason, call it Game FAQs message boards. And that's where the community was at the time.
Yeah, 9 years ago at this point? Even longer?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess people probably stopped going on there in 2010 or 11, something like that.
Yeah. Dang. So, on to the topic of the next phase, I guess, in SM64's development. How are you involved in the Game FAQ era of SM64?
Yeah.
What is your big claim to fame there?
I would say the video quiz. So I guess I'll explain what the video quiz is and how I relate to it. So the video quiz roared from 2005 to, I think it ended, I want to say in 2009, maybe even 2010. So it was big, and it was where the community was. Truly, there was no other place. I mean, there was no Discord, obviously.
Yeah.
There were YouTube videos, but there's no centralized place to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no standalone forum.
YouTube comments, right?
Right. So there was discussion there, but it was always between the same people who would have been on the... So the message boards really were where everyone was. It was a forum. Mm-hmm. So there was this topic. There was this video quiz, and I'll define what that was. But basically, there was a topic, and topics were limited to 500 messages. So once you get to 500 posts, the topic is closed, and you have to make a new one. Ouch. So of course, it was by the time I joined, it was topic number 6 or something like that.
There've been a lot of messages in there in that point.
Yeah. So the reason for this is the structure of the video quiz. So the video quiz was not. It started. So this is what I recall, is that it started a long time ago with it was pictures of random places that are hard to get to in Mario 64. Huh. You could imagine. Here's an example. I don't know if this was used in the video quiz, but here's just something that came to mind. In Tall Mountain, where there's those 2 gaps just to the right of the entrance, kind of near the Lonely Mushroom. One gap has a hole, and the other has the crazy box and the circle of coins.
Yeah.
You can use perhaps a bomb or something like that to clip behind one of the walls, which doesn't actually just drop you down into nothingness and killing you.
There?
There's a very small floor that extends just behind one of the walls. So someone might take a screenshot or something like that. I guess they would point a camera at the screen and take a picture. Yeah. And the first person to comment with what level that is and where exactly in the level wins the video quiz, wins that question of the video quiz. That's not what the video quiz was. That was
that sounds like a trivia quiz, basically.
Right. It was like a picture quiz or something like that. So this guy, his name is Mr. Roberts Z. That's Mr. Robert S. I don't know why he's plural. Mm-hmm. _Z. Came up with the idea of what if instead of a picture, it's a video. You take a video of your screen, and what if instead of, name where this is, first one wins. What if it's complete a particular task? So it was this set of tasks. So it would be released perhaps one a week, and it went through the levels chronologically. So very few people were around for the Bob-omb Battlefield days. There were some, but it was 15 tasks per level, right? Or 10 or whatever.
Oh, geez.
And Yeah, it was a lot. It went on for a long time. I mean, it was literally 2 or 3 months per level, 4 or 5 months per level at times, depending on if there were breaks and stuff. And those are the major levels. There were at least 5 tasks per minor level, like the wing cap level and all this. It was crazy. And the tasks got progressively harder. So task 1, everyone could do, and task 15, very few people could do, and they were worth points. So
Wow.
I could go on, but like basically you accumulate points over time by completing the tasks. There are timed and non-timed tasks. So if you do a non-timed task, then you get a certain amount of points. But if you could do a timed task and you get first, you get 100 points, and second, you get 75 points, stuff like that. So that's what the video quiz was.
Wow. How do they come up with that many tasks? Like, there's...
To be fair, there's a lot to the game, and that's what I love. We can go into the philosophy of how much I love Mario 64, but the beauty of the game is that you really can, if you play the game for long enough, you truly can come up with that many and probably 10 times more interesting tasks. I mean, you run the task competition.
I do.
It's the same kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, instead of being time-based, sometimes it's just difficulty-based, since it's RTA rather than tasks.
That's true.
So I could ask you the same question, right? How do you come up with task competition tasks? And it's just because the game is interesting inherently.
Yeah, the movement. I love the movement in SM64 so much. There's so much
amazing.
you can do.
Yeah, and so you asked, excuse me, you asked what was my claim to fame? I think was that you asked something like that,
or that was where the start of this question was basically.
Right, and I went on a big long ramble.
That's all right.
Circling back. So it was like topic 6. It was sometime. What level was it? I don't remember, but it might have been Tall Tall Mountain. So pretty late into the game, actually. I joined, and I started doing as many tasks as I could. And since I was, like 10 years old, actually less, like 8 or 9, I, had trouble doing them, but yeah. I did do them, and I was dedicated enough to rise through the ranks. I ended up getting to the top 5, and there was like a final task, which was do one task from every level in a row.
Jeez.
Yeah, and the person with the best time wins. And you could do any task, it's just do one per level. That was the best thing. I mean, it was horrible. It was very, very difficult, and I spent weeks, and I, had trouble balancing it with classes and stuff like this, because I guess by then I might have been in middle school where classes were starting to get more difficult. Yeah. But that was my claim to fame, as people started kind of knowing who I was. I had all this drama because I was a little kid and I got banned for some reason, but I don't know why. Just some game FAQs mods got mad at me or something like that. This was a recurring theme for much of my earlier life. But that was my claim to fame, is that I played in the video quiz.
Dang. So, I do want to mention, you didn't just play in the video quizzes. You also ran a few of them, most notably the second one that I could find. So, what went on behind the scenes regarding that people may not have known? Like, okay, it's pretty understandable, you do the task, enter it, but what is involved in actually running one of those?
Yeah, it's difficult, I will tell you that. So what happened is I was coming off the high of getting, 5th place in the Mario 64 video quiz, so it was a big deal. And everyone else, the other of the top 4, seemed kind of done with it. They had all been doing it for much longer than I had, so they were kind of tired. They were ready to move on, including Mr. Robert Z, who had, of course, been running this thing for 5 years. But I was new, I was shiny, I was ready to go. So I embarked on a mission. I asked Robert, how do you do this? First of all, you have to write the rules, and the rules are complicated, believe it or not, because you have to define exactly how you're timing, exactly what the scoring system is, what all the acronyms mean, because otherwise you're going to get people commenting what does TTM mean?
People kicking the wall instead of wall kicking.
Right. People will basically, when you do a video quiz and you do tasks, this probably doesn't happen with the task competition as much, but people will try to skirt the meaning of the task. And sometimes that's good and it makes for an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's bad. And furthermore, people will cheat. People will task, and they'll make it look like it was recorded from a console. People will collaborate with each other when they're not supposed to. Things like that. So you have to be a rule enforcer. You have to understand when your rules were insufficient and should be modified. And it's, of course, the difficulty of you have to like time all of the individual tasks. And this was back in 2011. I didn't know programming or anything. So there was no automation for this. It was just, you just literally have a stopwatch, or I was getting to the point where I was doing it frame by frame. So I'd mark down what frame Mario started on, mark down what frame Mario ended on. Sorry, my computer just went to sleep. You would have to do a whole lot of manual work also. So it was a big pain in the ass. And you'd have to come up with the tasks too. So you have to like sit down and really think of something that'd be interesting and fun.
Yeah, I would think like on the mental part, just coming up with a new task after you've come up with like so many of them.
It got exhausting after a while. I would try to do them in batches. I would try to do them like 5-10 tasks at a time so they could relax for a few weeks and only, do all the manual brainless work. But I got sloppy, and so in my personal life, I started in middle school, it started really getting pretty difficult. Like I went through all these like I don't want to sound like I'm bragging because I'm not, but it's like gifted stuff, right?
Yeah.
All this like difficult classes I had to do. And, it was starting to get to me balancing all this. And so I started to get sloppy. I started accidentally repeating tasks. I started timing them incorrectly, missing submissions. And eventually I had to give the video quiz away after not that long. I think I only got to Hazy Maze Cave or something like that before I gave it away to a guy named Tem Monitor. And I didn't really follow it afterwards because I was kind of sad that I was burnt out, and I was sad that I wasn't able to carry this thing to its completion. And there were more video quizzes after that. And I didn't really follow those either, but I still felt connected to the community, and I felt like I did my best to give something, even though maybe sometimes I was an asshole or sometimes I didn't do it. I dropped it or dropped the ball or something like that. But
you were in middle school, you can't really can't blame yourself.
It's hard
too much.
to fault me, right? I suppose by the end I was in high school, but even still, I was it was young.
There's a big difference between like 9th grade and
12th. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks. So that's the negative aspect. What is your favorite part in either participating in or hosting those? Or what was, I guess?
Yeah. I love the creativity. I loved how creative people got with their submissions. Some people would just find the absolute most creative pathway through a level to complete a time task. Or for the non-time tasks, some people would do it just kind of in a flashy way. If you have to do X, Y, and Z, they throw a BLJ in the middle of it just to make it look cool. And the fact that it was just kind of cool to have people do the things I say, it sounds kind of narcissistic, but like you write it down and someone does it, like, hey, cool. So it was just really nice. I felt kind of connected. So that was, I would say, kind of the era 2, era 3 kind of thing. And that was just the video quiz part of it, And I did Mario Sunshine video quizzes too. I got kind of into that game, and I was kind of thinking of a Galaxy video quiz, but that game sucks, so... Anyway.
No, it doesn't suck. It's bad in a video quiz format, though.
Right. It sucks for this.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say it sucks. Yeah.
Dang. So now I want to keep going with this because I had some other questions, but now I'm interested in your whole eras you're talking about. So you said that's the 2nd and 3rd, and we're up to like 8. So we got.
Yeah, I wish I had written them down before doing this.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, you don't have to be like era 4 started at this date on this onwards. We can just freeball it. So
right.
How would you describe the next eras? So what happened after the video quizzes?
Right. So actually, I should briefly mention that before the video quizzes, there was just kind of early exploration of Mario 64 on the Game FAQs site.
Yeah.
There was kind of era 0, which was just there was minimal internet presence and word of mouth. Era 1 being like early exploration. There were these topics called Mysteries of SM64, and there were just as many of them as there were video quiz topics, and people would just like comment interesting things about Mario 64. And so that went on for quite a while. The video quiz kind of ushered us into era 2, where tasks really started to become big. People were optimizing the 16-star tasks. Around this time, people discovered the 1 and then 0-star glitches, which were just, imagine how hype that was, right? Like, we never, ever thought that would happen. And yet someone discovered it. So after this, there was more of an emphasis on tasks. The 0-star task got more refined. The task competition started up. micro optimizations and stuff like that. And then there was an MSN. There was a Skype.
Skype group
with all these people. Yeah, were you in the Skype group?
I was
don't
not.
recall.
That was actually predated me.
Right. So I would say Era 3, the big thing. And I'm making these numbers up.
Yeah,
I'm going to be clear to all the people listening. I'm going to get all the numbers wrong, and there might not be 7, there might be 6. But this one, there was an era where people were on Skype. Everybody involved, all the major taskers and all the major just kind of explorers, were all in the same Skype chat. And we were just talking, sometimes it was... The thing is that the task kind of... The RTA land and the TAS land and the exploration land. Mm-hmm. Exploration was foremost. Then TAS and RTA kind of split up, and the exploration kind of died down because people discovered everything.
Yeah.
And so it really just became about like micro optimizations of TASs and of RTA records. But all of that went on in this Skype chat, and it was fun. It was a fun time. That was kind of the new home of the community, was this Skype chat.
Dang. So like how? So like what happened? Give me like an example of like how this Skype chat would work.
Well, to be honest, a lot of it was kind of not safe for work. It was a lot of swearing and a lot of infighting, and it was a classic internet community in that way. And this is where I started to phase out of my involvement a little bit, because again, I was busy. I wasn't interested in tasks really. I liked watching them, and I especially... An example of something that might happen in the chat, the Skype chat, was free runs. So people would write part of a free run, and the community free run would happen where a person picks up where that save state left off and add their own flair to it. Have you seen these? If you haven't, they're amazing. They're really cool. People would pass free runs back and forth, and people would do very surprising things and try to leave the next person in a compromised position that they'd have to get out of.
I mean,
so
yeah,
that was the kind of thing.
I've seen like big community free runs, which are more collaborative now, less trying to leave the other person in a bad spot. But yeah, those still happen even to this day. They're obviously not as big as they are back then,
right?
But those still even happen,
right?
So dang, that sounds like a fun era. That sounds like an era perfect for like what, high school age. Everyone's getting older. Everyone's in high school now.
Yeah, so I was always the youngest. Well, I say always. I mean, it's not true anymore. But back then I was quite often the youngest. And people were a couple years older than me, high school, early college, and they were getting pretty good at tassing. Again, TAS never interested me a whole lot. I was always more interested in the exploratory parts of it. Glitch hunting and stuff like that. So I would just kind of watch from the sidelines and, just be impressed. I would just be kind of impressed with how optimized these TASs were getting. And that's when Pan and Quate came in. So I would attribute him with the ushering in of, I guess I could call it Era 4, which is when exploration really came into the forefront of Mario 64 again.
Because
go ahead.
I know the A button challenge existed before Pan, but
yes, he
kind of like made it take off in a whole nother way.
Yeah, and I mean, you're gonna have to get his opinion on how that all started, but my take on it is that, so the A button challenge existed before, and I didn't mention this before. So there were A button challenge tasks in the video quiz occasionally, so it was like well known.
Yeah.
And there was the site called sm64.com, which still exists.
Curtis Bright.
It was Curtis Bright. And Curtis, by the way, now I've Google stalked him, and I think he's some sort of professor, which is crazy cool.
Wow, that is
really,
cool.
Really awesome. But anyway, he was kind of like the curator of Mario 64 glitches and stats and stuff like that, including the A button challenge, right? Pan and Quate started in 2010. His username is Pan and Quate 2012, but he started in 2010.
Yeah, no one ever got that.
And he started.
I don't know why.
No one ever understood why.
Yeah.
He might have been obsessed with that one. Remember the theory that 2012 disaster movies? Yeah, maybe he liked those. You're gonna have to ask him. But where was I? So I remember I was friends with. I say was, but I guess I still am. I just don't talk as much with Sonic Packer, and he was huge in Era 3. I would say.
Oh, yeah. I mean he's still huge even kind of now, honestly.
Sure. He was just cranking out. I mean, he was a big player in the 0-star tasks, and he was cranking out these free runs and ILs and all this stuff. And he sent me, so we were just chatting. I think by now we might have been Facebook friends, or maybe we would just Skype sometimes. he would send me videos that I might be interested in. One of them was Panacoic's one of Panacoic's earlier videos. Panacoic had 7 subscribers.
Wow.
And like 4 videos, and I actually have evidence that I was one of his first 10 subscribers.
Wow.
Yeah, and his videos were getting 255 coins in as many courses as possible, and that had been known forever. You know, people knew how to do this for most of the levels for a long time. But he found out, one of them intrigued me, that he found out how to do it at least most of the way in TikTok Clock. And no one had done this before. Like, I knew bob-ombs were there, so you should be able to do cloning and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But no one had ever done it. And he was posting them. And then here's something, kind of a funny side note of history. I accused him of cheating because I accused Panacoic of cheating in his comments, and I think he took offense or something like that, as one should. But the reason I did this is because, so his icon still is this 255 with all the coins facing the camera. And he didn't mention anywhere in any of his videos that he was doing this with TAS.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I was like, how is he getting it so that all of the coins are released on the exact right frame
facing the right way
every single time? So I was like, this guy's cheating. Like, cool. He's trying to be cool, like become famous. When in reality, he just hadn't said that he was tassing. You know, back in the day, it was kind of a touchy subject. Like TAS and RTA, you know, it's a love-hate relationship between them.
Especially back then.
Especially back then. And so when you put something out and you don't say which one it is and people assume it's one when it's actually the other, like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So anyway, he posted these, and then he started getting into the A button challenge. He started getting into all the little nitty-gritty details of Mario 64 and really dissecting it. And I think kind of the era came and went with the art of cloning. He kind of put a new face on cloning, which had been known forever, but he really put it into the forefront of what's going on in Mario 64 exploration.
Huh. Yeah, because, I mean, you yourself even had a video about cloning.
Yeah. So if you go on my YouTube channel...
I had it here, but I don't remember what it is.
I remember what it's called. It's called Bob-omb Glitch in Super Mario 64. So I had made... We're going all the way back to Era 2.
Right.
I had made my YouTube account. I asked my mom permission so that I could start submitting to the video quiz. I was like, well, now that I have it, I can start just putting random stuff on here.
Exactly.
So it was a wonderful realization. And I really love sharing these with friends. I would invite friends over and make them watch me. And, you know, obviously I'd pay them back by hanging out, actually. But I just wanted to show them these cool things I found in Mario 64 or, you know, had seen online. One of them being cloning. And back then it was called... I called it the placeholder bob-omb glitch.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, and I don't know if everyone else called it that. I think people really were just calling it cloning. I don't know why I called it placeholder. I had a very, very vague sense of how you know, code and programming worked.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, it's kind of like a placeholder value or something like that. But yeah, I made this video, and of course it's very cute because I was prepubescent and my voice is all high and stuff. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, Panon kind of put it back into the limelight and ushered in a new era of exploration of the game.
Dang. And you were around for this era too, right?
Right. So I would say that this, it's hard to say. I think I kind of stopped paying attention to the Skype because it was really spammy. I don't even remember, but there was this MSN chat that would happen, and I don't know whether that was after or before the Skype. But I started kind of becoming a little bit more of a lurker and a little bit less of an active contributor.
Yeah.
And this, to put us on a timeline, right, 2010 to 2013 or 14. Mm-hmm. I was going through high school, which was very difficult, and not to say I didn't like it, but just I had a lot of work all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was just watching all these videos come out and kind of showing my friends. I would still occasionally play Mario 64, but not as much. Got into other games like Sunshine. And yeah, so I was around, I was commenting, but I wasn't really doing anything. It wasn't until the Facebook group chat came around that I kind of got back into things a little bit.
Oh, man. So tell me about this Facebook group chat. I don't really know that much about it myself.
Yeah, well, there might be a one Ted 58 who was involved in this. So I truly don't remember how the Facebook group chat came around. I think that Sonic Packer put it together, and it was just a working group for a potential one key tasks. Or at least that's what it became. I'm not sure if it was just optimizations of the 120 star run at first. Like, we were working on I say we, but it wasn't me because I don't task. But they were working on the 120 star run, and this guy Tyler Caney, who was mentioned precariously in Pan and Coic's newer videos in 2014 and 15, came in. And he was like, hey, I think I have an idea on how we're going to get the moat door. We're going to open the moat door even though it's underwater.
And everyone was like, what?
Everyone's like, what the fuck? Like, that's not possible. It's underwater. You can't open a door underwater. It's like obvious that you can't do that. And that's when an old glitch that had been known for a long time, parallel universes, it had been known for a long time because if you just do a BLJ in an emulator, and just do it too much, you'll go into a parallel universe. So that's been known about since like a billion years ago, like 2008, 2007.
Yeah, basically since like BLJs almost.
Pretty much. So he discovered basically that when you go to a PU and come back, you have a frame where you're able to open the door underwater. And actually, the more interesting part that came second. The first part that he discovered is that you're able to get into Vanish Cap under the moat without
the wing
opening
cap.
The gate, right? Which is like, huh? Like, how does that make sense? But if you string it together, it's like perfectly serendipitous that you can do this. The moat door is there, and vcuttum is there.
Yeah, exactly.
And right, so this was kind of what was going on in the Facebook group chat. It was that and A Button Challenge was fairly underway. It was like, raging. Pannon was killing A presses left and right alongside Tyler and all these other people. And so that was, I'm going to firmly pin this in 2015.
Yep.
Because I was in college and I was actually it was summer 2015 was this group chat. And I would wake up every morning before an internship I had. So I'm a programmer and I had a programming internship.
Figures.
Yeah, makes sense. And I would wake up, and the first thing I would do is I would go to this Facebook group chat and read everything that had happened in the past, several hours while I was sleeping or in the night before. And it was just a dream because I was in on this like insider. I felt like I was a fly on the wall, kind of, with all these, or like a fly on the wall while the Constitution's being written.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
People were, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was there.
You were there, so. It was crazy, man. It was really cool.
It was like there was so much stuff being done that you knew Mario 64. You had years of experience with it. Like,
yes,
but
and I
helped
exactly zero.
Yeah, exactly. They were saying stuff, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I think the thing that really stands out to me the most is they put the physics inside a spreadsheet of the game just to be able to do. I don't even remember if it was Vanish Cap entry or remote door skip, but they put the physics inside a spreadsheet to be able to do that. And I was like, wow, I am way outclassed here.
I wasn't able to follow any of that at all. I was just like, this spreadsheet is insanity.
Exactly.
I mean, to know how to do that, I mean, I still don't really understand it, and I know the source code of the game. Like, it's crazy to be able to do something like that. But they did it, and it was very fun to watch.
And like,
I will say, go ahead.
No, sorry, you're being interviewed. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna brag. If you go in the chat history and search One Key, I'm the one who came up with the name One Key. They didn't have a name for it before. Yeah, I was doing it.
Dang. So you're the person that's like, oh man, now it's down to 0 stars. Now it's down to 1 key.
Right. So I was always a huge fan of the task video description of each of the successive tasks. I remember when they were being written. Like the 16 star tasks had this like funny quip where it was like, at first there were 120 star, or first there were 70 stars because Bowser demanded it. Then there were 31 stars because Mips the bunny demanded it. Then there were 16 stars because whatever, I don't even fucking remember what it is, but it was like that. But then when 0 star came out, 1 and 0 star came out, they were able to extend it further. The 16 because Mips, 1 because the door, or because of Dire Nox or something. 0 because there's nothing left to do.
Mario got impatient. 0.
Right. But then I was like, haha, we can continue this. Then there was two keys because Bowser in the Dark World demanded it. Now there is one because Mario's impatient. So I was just like ecstatic to be able to add on to that. And I guess I was just the first one to realize that we could now. So I didn't really invent it. I just brought it up.
I mean, you kind of did. Don't sell yourself short.
I'll take credit.
Wow. I can't believe Quate made one key. That's what we're going with, right?
Yep, go with that. Headline, Quate made one key.
Dang. So then, that was a crazy era. That was the Panenkoic one key era. That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was when I kind of started.
Right. And I guess I don't know what number I'm on anymore, but it was somewhere
was
like
4.
4 or 5, maybe. 4 might have been before Facebook, and 5 was the solid like Facebook one key era.
Yeah.
But anyhow, it doesn't really matter that much. And that was what we talked about.
So, next question. You probably already know this question already. But what about Era 6? What happened after Facebook?
So, as with the rest of this interview, it's very self-centered. Like, this is my view, and if it's not obvious, this is my view of how Mario 64 development went. But kind of Era 6 started with decomp. So back in 2000, really? I guess I would say so. I guess this brings us kind of to, if Era 6 is decomp starting, then Era 7 is what we are now. But decomp is a big part. The tasks, I guess 2 things. The Discord, the task Discord.
Oh man, I wonder who made that.
Yeah, whoever made that, I would say that's actually kind of the beginning of Era 6 or N+1 for whatever N was. Decomp beginning was, I don't know if parallel or a direct cause
it was
of that or something like that. Okay, I would say that. Okay, cool. Yeah. So task Discord is the ushering in of the era, and decomp is a major thing that started during this era. That's where all the really, truly nuts insane ABC innovations were invented. We're on this like ABC Discord, task ABC Discord, right?
Yeah.
Like you would know better because you were in it for quite a while.
I was
longer than I was.
Yeah, you could say that.
Right. Well, actually, let me turn this around. When did you start that Discord, and why did you start it, and who did you invite initially?
Okay, so you're turning it back on me. So this is a little mini story about the Discord. In the Facebook group chat, there's a person named Notchmath. This was back in Era 5. I don't remember the number, but
whatever it was.
In the Facebook era. So there's a guy named Notchmath, and the Facebook group had kind of died down, and there wasn't really anything to replace it. It just kind of died after one key. So it was like, dang, this sucks. Where's my Mario? I like Mario. And he announced, hey, I made a Discord. You should join. And joined that. And this is around late 2016, I believe.
Okay.
And I joined that, and it ran very well. I think he had a rule saying no cursing. And I was like, wow, this seems a bit excessive.
We're a bit older than that.
Yeah,
by
exactly.
Now. Yeah.
So because this isn't really the best thing for me to do, but I made a different Discord and said, hey, this one has cursing. And that's where it stands today.
Nice. It's the cursing Discord.
Exactly.
The rated R, rated
exactly.
T.
Rated T+. Let's go with that.
T+. So that was that there was like kind of a smooth transition with a small lull between the Facebook group chat and the Discord.
Yeah, basically.
Which blew up.
Yeah, that's
like the Discord really blew up.
I never expected to get half as big as it did.
Right. Let alone as big as it did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was I think I remember there was some discussion in the group chat long after it had kind of died down, and I was like, I didn't really know what Discord was. I didn't want to have to like do one more, make one more account, do one more thing.
Yeah, you've already been on
Discord
so many of them.
Right. I mean, imagine this. Game FAQs and Skype and MSN, Facebook, now Discord. Like, come on. Like, it has to end at some point. But it didn't, because Discord became wildly popular and everyone uses it now for everything.
Yeah.
So, and it's a very good format for this. I mean, channels versus topics. To be fair, it is a little bit more difficult than a forum sometimes to follow the thread of the conversation, but it can also be good for rapid development of things like crazy ABC insights. and decomp. So a decomp was kind of a direct result of this, where I won't say any names because it does get a little dicey with whether or not people want their contributions public. But there were a couple inspired people who had been involved in previous decompilation projects of different games who wanted to jumpstart Mario 64 decompilation. And so you started the Discord in late 2016.
Yeah.
And in my personal life, I went to college in, I suppose I had started in late 2014, but I was really in the thick of it by 2016. And I've said this like twice already, but college was like nothing else difficult. I mean, it was like I had sleepless days and nights, sleepless weeks. I went to Caltech, which is, it doesn't matter if you've heard of it, but it's like a hard
brutal,
place.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was difficult. And so I didn't have a whole lot of time other than just watching occasional YouTube videos and being in awe of the things people had done. But by the end of my time in college, this was my senior year, sometime in late 2017, early 2018, I had some more free time again, finally. And not only this, I had just been studying for 3 years to get a degree in computer science and math. So
you double majored? Jeez.
I double majored. So
no wonder you had no
even
time.
harder. Yeah. I'll let you in on a secret, and that CS is easy and math is hard. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, CS major.
Don't tell anyone. Yeah. It's a nice major to do alone.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, I had that, and I finally had some free time, and I noticed the Discord. I popped back in every once in a while, and I didn't know what Discord was, so I kind of gave it up. But I noticed Code Ukikis was a channel there, and I was like, that's interesting. I'm a code monkey. Let me see what's up with that. And sure enough, it was the entryway to the Decomp Discord, which was a separate Discord where people were working on this super secret project. I got in because I'm smart, and because I love Mario 64. Yeah. And so I figured, what better bastion than Mario 64 as kind of like my something to go into. Like exactly, obviously, I was getting a job and stuff like that, but like it's a perfect like, from whence I came, circle of life kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. I'm going back to what I've always been interested in. So my passion for Mario 64 really led me all the way back around. Now I actually have a way to contribute again, because I was never good at tassing. I tried it a few times. I was terrible. And
Same.
I was... right? It's hard.
It is very hard.
Like, how do you use that input plugin and you have to manage like 10 save states and
quarter frames? It's incredible. But anyways,
it's very difficult. But yeah, so I was never very good at. I mean, I was actually pretty good at RTA. I have the like determination to be just do things over and over and over again. But this was a long time ago, so I was good back in 2010, and I probably was on the top 10 list or something like that at some point. But I never. It was kind of a waste of time for me. Like it would hurt my thumb, and I had other stuff to do, so couldn't keep up with that. And the ABC stuff got out of hand very quickly. Like if you weren't around and dedicated and have a bunch of free time, then it's kind of hard to figure out how to make your way in there. So I was just watching from afar for a really long time. But now with Decomp, I was like, hey, I actually have the skill set. Like I love assembly. Like I was taking all these operating systems courses, and I had loved assembly for a couple of years, and I finally have some time, and I love Mario 64. So what better way than to decompile the assembly into the C code that it came from, and then I can look at like the skeleton of this thing I'd loved for over 2 decades.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the ushering in of the kind of current era, which is Decomp nearing completion. I mean, there's stuff I didn't talk about yet, but I mean,
obviously,
as Decomp went on, it got closer and closer to complete, and then it was complete, and it was released, and still kind of being documented and stuff like that. And of course, I'm still active in that community. But it was just really kind of cool that I was able to kind of give back in that way, because not only does Decomp allow you to analyze the game more deeply for things like ABC and TASes, but it also allows you to create cool ROM hacks. And ROM hacks are an aspect of the community I didn't even mention. They've been around
so
forever.
Many now.
Yeah,
it's gotten
and they're
so
growing
easy to
rapidly.
Do. It's great.
It's gotten so easy. You just need to like know basic programming, and then bam, you can make any game you want out of Mario 64's engine.
Speaking of that, you yourself have actually developed a ROM hack called Bingo 64. So
Yes.
what is that? How does that work?
This is a plug for Bingo 64.
Wow.
I hope
What
to
a
see
plug. Make sure to
a
download it at
surge.
this URL. Stickman's going to edit this in here. It's going to be great.
Yeah. So Bingo 64. So I haven't actually worked on it for almost. Well, I don't want to say almost a year, but I haven't worked on it much
Recently.
in about a year recently because I've just been doing other stuff. But if it has an upsurge of downloads, I will heavily consider reframing my time. Bingo 64 was just an idea that a friend and I, an IRL friend and I had. We're just hanging out. I had just come off of a breakup. Shout out to breaking up.
Yeah, big shout outs. What a time. Gotta love it.
Shout out to Sadness.
Yeah. Let's go, Sadness.
So we were hanging out and we were like talking about decomp because he and I, were we were both coworkers and classmates, and we were friends also, and nerds, and we like games. So I showed him decomp, and he was like, "Wow, that's really cool." He started brainstorming ideas on things we could do with it, and one of the ones we settled on after getting some pizza was bingo. He was big into the like kind of GDQ scene of bingos and bingo races and stuff like that, and so we decided, hey, what if we put bingo inside of Mario 64? Like, what a good proof of concept. Like, decomp was half done, or maybe 2/3 done, or something like that. So there were still things that you couldn't quite modify. But what if you press L and you could see the bingo board? You wouldn't have to keep a sheet or a website open while you play the game.
You could do it offline.
You could do it offline. You could configure it so that it would be easy, medium, or hard. You could have, and here's the real killer app, is that if you are doing a bingo, do you really want to write down like how many coins you got in every single stage and then do quick math in your head? Do you want to count how many Goombas you killed? Like, that would be hard.
Definitely not.
But the game can do that easily, right? Like, the game can do that no problem. So we were like, that's what bingo is going to be. Like, bingo, in the future is going to be the game keeping track of insanely complicated things for you. Like, how many walls did you wall jump off of? Or even more complicated things like do something in a certain amount of time.
And you'd never be able to do that in a regular bingo. Like, do something in like 30 seconds? You'd have no idea. You'd have to look at your timer.
You'd have to have a stopwatch or something like that. Like, there are things that are very clearly impossible in regular bingo. So this was our guiding idea, and we hacked out kind of a solution over the next few weeks. He got busy, and I got busy, and we eventually dropped it a bit, and I got back into it a bit, and I dropped it a bit. But ultimately, it's fun. Like, there's a few people, shout out to GTM and all these other people who really like still play it sometimes. Yeah. And it was cool to have people kind of know about decomp. It was the first major, and Rando is amazing. But bingo was slightly before Rando, and it was the first real decomp hack, I would say, that showed off.
You can really do anything with this, can't you?
You could do anything. Shout out to bingo. Go play it. It's fun. I'll go write more objectives for it.
Yes. Hey, Stick, edit bingo in right here. The people are gonna love it. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So you've done more than just that in terms of decomp. You've also done a program that I've seen is a program called MIPS to C. So before we even get into that, give me some background on decomp. Like, how does this work? What does decomp mean? I assume I'm a person that has no idea about programming.
Well, you as a listener of the Ukikipedia podcast must have read the Ukikipedia news article on decomp that released a few months ago. So
make sure to check
out
Ukikipedia.org.
Make sure to check that out. Yeah. They're actually, jokes aside, that actually is a pretty good article.
It's not .org. I'm an idiot. Okay, sorry, keep going.
You don't know your own damn podcast name. Anyway.
Okay. Stick, edit that out. Okay.
Edit this out. Edit it out. It'll be fine. So, decomp.
Yes.
When Nintendo ships cartridges out, there obviously is no it's obvious to say, but there's no online component. The whole game is given to you in a ROM format. So you have everything from the little to the big about the game in the palm of your hand if you're holding a cartridge. Everything's there. The problem is that it's compressed. To fit it onto such a tiny cartridge, of course, you can't have the original, full-size code, the original full-size assets. You have to compress it somehow. Mm-hmm. And furthermore, when you compress code, you pass it through something called a compiler, which tends to slim it down very drastically to a much smaller size than the original source code, of course. So when Nintendo does this, so they give you kind of the key to the kingdom, but it's also kind of obscured. It's obfuscated. It's hard to see kind of what's going on inside. Decomp is the process of taking the assembly code, the minified version of the code base, and making it bigified and big in it. Again, human readable in the exact format that the original programmers would have written. So this is something that people were doing manually for a long time. There's assembly code, which you can go and look up. It's actually MIPS assembly, which, of course, if you're familiar with MIPS the bunny in Mario 64.
16-star speedruns.
16-star speedruns especially. MIPS the bunny is a big deal here. And MIPS continues to be a big deal even today.
Yeah.
It's just in a different format. So anyway, let's see. So it's the process of writing C code from assembly code. And people are doing this manually. And I was doing this manually. It was fun, but it was also like a lot of tedious work that I realized after some years of experience with programming and stuff. You could kind of automate this. Like, it's basically tracing variables that go into registers. So registers are what the hardware kind of puts temporary variables into.
Yeah.
And, it can read from memory and it can write to memory. And it's tracing kind of a lifeline of each variable. And you do this mostly in your head. You might edit a text file or something like that to kind of keep track of where you are. Mm-hmm. But it ended up being a really manual process. And I was like, you could automate this. You could kind of do a lot of the substitution yourself, especially aided by the fact that Mario 64 is compiled without optimizations. It was compiled in debug mode.
Let's go, Nintendo.
Yeah, good job, guys. Really shipping out a debug mode to millions upon millions of people. Very good, very good.
Great
but
job.
It helped my job. And I wrote this thing called MIPS to C in a hazy, wonderful summer.
Cave.
It was. So I had just graduated. And so I kind of went hermit mode. I slept for 12 hours a day, woke up at 4 p.m., going to bed at 4 a.m. In my parents. We've all been there, and it was very relaxing after 4 years of grueling hard work.
Oh, yeah. Finally getting some time off.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got some time off, and I spent it, of course, writing a decompiler, as one does. And it was fun. It was fun to just wake up and kind of work on this thing for a long time, drink some coffee, drink a beer, go to bed, do it again. And I ended up like getting it to the point where it worked pretty well. Like it definitely made things faster. And then I abandoned it for a while. And then this guy, Simon Lindholm, who you can see on the MIPS. So you can, if you're putting links in the description, you could probably put MIPS C in there too, in case anyone's interested.
Yeah, Stick, edit that in.
Edit that in, please. Please, Stick. Can you edit that in?
He never edits anything in. It's going to be great.
God damn it, Stick. Come on. Get your head in the game. But yeah, Simon worked on it quite a bit. And you can see his name in the commits. And he made it really just a very fleshed out and really well thought out program. And he added a lot of really cool features to it too, specifically for Dash 02, which is the non-debug mode, the difficult mode, the hard mode of decompilation.
The actual way you're supposed to ship games mode.
Yeah, the actual good job, Nintendo, you actually did it right this time mode. So yeah, MIPS to C is kind of a full fleshed out script that converts MIPS assembly into C code rapidly. And it's being used by Zelda, and it's being used by all sorts of other decompilation projects. And I just feel kind of good that I've been able to finally, after all these years, I mean, not to say I didn't get back in any way, but like, I took a lot from the community, and I'm able to kind of lend my skills in a way that hopefully is helping other people. Like when you're having a hard time, some people like to play ROM hacks, and I hope that I kind of did my part in making more of those ROM hacks available sooner. So that's kind of how I view it.
Dang. Well, it's funny because you started out with MIPS 16-star speedruns to your friends.
Yep.
Ended up
from MIPS to
MIPS.
From MIPS to okay. So we have MIPS to C. Is my life story. That's what I'll call my obituary. Is MIPS to C.
No, that should be your autobiography.
Or autobiography. Yeah, my memoir. MIPS to MIPS to MIPS to MIPS to MIPS to MIPS.
Dang. So that was that. So what are you working on right now?
Yeah, right now, so I actually today, as of the past few weeks, I've been really working hard on MIPS to C for the first time in years. So I've gotten back in contact with Simon, and he's lending me some knowledge of the parts of the code base he wrote, and I'm improving the parts that I wrote not very well. But more interestingly, now that decomp is done, excuse me, I realized I wanted to start getting into ROM hacks a little bit. And I also wanted to put my math degree to good use. I got this math degree, and I ended up not using it because I'm a programmer. So I'm like, how am I gonna justify all that money? So I realized there's this.
Don't tell me. You put a calculator into SM64?
I sure did. You can ground pound on the buttons, and it outputs a. Actually, that's kind of a good idea. Has anyone done that?
Kay's already did that.
Oh, damn it. Okay, well.
Sorry,
I'm gonna make it a scientific calculator.
Oh God!
I'm gonna put decomp. I'm gonna put MIPS to C in the game. You'll be able to decomp Mario 64 from within Mario 64,
just like a computer terminal.
That would actually be kind of fun. Also, that would be really fun.
That'd be really fun. That'd be really stupid too. It'd be so stupid.
We put Linux inside of Mario 64. That's a great idea.
Wow.
Amazing. Anyway, so where am I? Right. So I'm working on a paper, actually. Who knows when I'll ever finish it, because I did hear that when you tell people you're working on something, your motivation for it instantly evaporates to nothing. Right. So who knows if I'll ever finish it, but I'm working on a paper about a mathematical property of Mario 64. And I'm not going to go into the details, but I can go into the high-level overview, kind of.
Make it... Okay. I can do addition and subtraction pretty good.
Yeah.
But...
Okay. I bet if you can do multiplication, I can help you out here.
Okay,
otherwise,
I need to use my fingers, but I'm still pretty good.
That's fine. Fingers are okay.
Cool.
So the result... Basically, there's a notion of how hard something is to compute. There's a whole kind of field of math about it called computational complexity theory. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that if you put things nicely enough, like if you put things in a very rigorous format, then you can rigorously say how hard something is or isn't. If you've heard of P equals NP, it's related to that. So the question of whether P equals NP is the biggest open problem in computational complexity theory.
And you're going to solve it with SM64.
Right. That's the plan. No.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm going to prove a result about how hard an arbitrary Mario 64 level could be. So you can say things like, you could ask questions like, how hard is it to get a star? If somebody hands you a level that was written in the Mario 64 engine using the same kind of objects that you would see in a Mario 64 level, using the same behaviors and using the same code base, basic code base, where the tunable parameter is like the layout of the level.
Yeah.
So you can ask the question like, how hard is that? And it turns out the answer, this becomes jargon, is P-space complete. Mario 64 is a P-space complete game, which means it's very hard. Technically, it could be technically in the same way that P equals NP is basically a question of, are things that are easy really things that are hard? And most people think that no, P does not equal NP, because things that are easy really are not things that are hard. But there's another open question, which is actually even like P space is like P or NP, except it's even harder. It requires even more computational power, yet people still don't actually know whether it's equal to P, which is the easiest class. And so technically Mario 64 still could be easy. But people use the term computationally hard for P-space complete because they really, really, truly, and to the deepest part of their hearts, usually believe that P-space is not equal to P. So Mario 64 is hard, and if you have trouble beating it or ROM hacks of it, don't worry, because you're mathematically justified in feeling that way.
I knew there was a reason I didn't have an 18 and 16 star.
Exactly. People are talking about 18s. I remember when 22 was the best, and I was happy with my 25.
Yo, you mentioned all the way back, like you started. What time did you get when you brought your friends over to do a 16-star run?
You know, it was kind of embarrassing because I think I died a couple times in Bowser in the Fire Sea, I was using a really old route where you only go to Bob on Battlefield, Womp's Fortress, and the slide. You don't go to.
Wow. And you just get all the stars in them?
Well, so you get like the first two. You actually get. So I think I remember the route was King Bob-omb on the summit, then Chain Chomp's Gate. Yeah. Then you go to Womp's Fortress and get most of the stars there, but you don't get the coin ones. And I don't think that you. I don't recall exactly. And then you get the slide either once or twice, and then you go to Bowser in the Sky. I don't, or Bowser in the Dark World. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know what the current route is. I imagine it's, Chain Chomp's Gate, and then like a bunch of Womp's Fortress. There's a couple Cool Mountain, probably, maybe. Like that one you can just jump down into. Wall kicks will work.
Yeah, wall kicks will work is pretty fast. But nowadays they don't even go into Bob-omb Battlefield anymore. Nowadays,
right? They'll do the lobby BLJ.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Bob-omb Battlefield's obsolete.
Yeah, I mean it takes too long to even get that like bomb clip. So it's crazy how time flies. And I remember the first time lobby BLJ was discovered, I would practice that too. And I never got very good at it, but it was always fun to kind of use the camera to kind of aim Mario to try to. I've never actually, this is the biggest shame, I've never even completed a 1-star run because I've never been able to successfully do the.
Oh, there's no shame in that. There's no shame in not doing SBLJ. SBLJ is like awful.
Well, you'd think somebody who's been around for so long should have had at least one SBLJ under their belt, but
I don't know. SBLJ
maybe
kind of bad.
Yeah, kind of bad. I mean, maybe if I read the decomp, if I read the source code well enough, maybe I'll find a trick to, like a sock folder setup to get it perfect.
Well, I mean, very recently, funnily enough, either the last person or the time before this, we had Super Devo 0001 on here, and he did find a way to get past that with a low ceiling BLJ and a setup for that. But
really? Underneath the
little
glass?
the glass thing.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, and it's just unit perfect, but it's doable.
Oh, so it's not really RTA then?
No, there's a setup.
There's an RTA setup. Got it.
Wow, literally awesome. Like sock folder.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, well I'll go do that, and I'll finally get I'll live stream it. I'll finally get a 1 or 0. Can it do 0 or just 1?
I would assume it just does. Well, I mean, technically, I guess it could do 0, but I don't think you're gonna get 0 with it.
Well, 1 is fine. I'll get a 1-star run under my belt.
Go for 1 first.
After all these years.
Yeah. Dang. So, that was that section.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the next section. How long have we been going for?
About
Over
an hour.
Yeah. You were like, oh man, this isn't gonna have enough time. Now we're more than good.
We're good.
So, I want to go back to the community section because we talked about a lot of what was happening in the community. We talked about a lot of the eras, what was going on, but I want to know what about SM64 in the community has kept you in the game for so long, for over like half your life?
Yeah. I think I kind of divided everything into like tasks and RTA and exploration. And for me, it's just the curiosity of everyone involved, and not to single out exploration or anything like that, because there's obviously a lot of curiosity involved in making an extra optimized task or like finding setups for RTA or stuff like that. But it's just the curiosity and the mutual love everyone has. I'm not a spiritual person, but it's like really cool to see everybody unite around this game and the engine behind the game, and just to be curious about it, right? No matter what drama there is or what people say, I still think Mario 64 is the best game ever made, and I think it's just really cool to see all of the things people can do with enough time and with enough curiosity.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Like the community around SM64, there's not really a game kind of like it.
No, there really isn't. I mean, there you could draw similarities, right, between like Mario 64 or Zelda or any of this
Super Mario World.
Right. But like the community of Mario 64, I mean, everyone thinks their community is the special one, so
exactly.
Perhaps we're not. But
we're the only right one, right?
Right, we're the only ones who are right.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's so cool. There's so many facets of it. There's so many things that you can kind of look into, from ABC to all the little other miscellaneous challenges that aren't quite as pure as ABC, but are still really cool to see tasks of. There's so many little facets of the game, and it's like a macrocosm of the game itself, because the game itself has so many facets. It's good in the sense that there's like so many movement options, and all of the movement options just make sense.
Yeah, except the breakdance.
The breakdance is a little weird, but I like it.
Does not make sense, but it's good.
It's cute.
It's good.
It's cute.
Yeah.
It's Mario's cute option.
It's the I just did something. Let me breakdance 2 times.
Yeah. Exactly. Whoo! That's my Mario impression. That's my patented Mario impression.
Yahoo! Gotta love it.
Amazing.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was that. I gotta admit, I don't know if you know this, I'm also a pretty big fan of Super Mario 64. I know, crazy, right?
Crazy.
Yeah. Just for me, it's just all the there's so much ways you can do things and it's so fast. I honestly think if like one of the things for me is just the glitches of SM64. There's so many like varied glitches, and none of them are like game breaking. Like if you mess this up, you like die. Well, there are some, but they're like very obscure. Like you're never really gonna be like, dang, I just did a glitch wrong and like ruined my game or something.
Right. Yeah, I the glitches are far and away the best part of the game. I mean, it's wonderful. I think the glitches are kind of a byproduct almost of how the movement options are given to you in this game. Mm-hmm. Like the game gives you a lot of movement options because Miyamoto wanted you to have them and just play around with them and keep discovering new things. And the glitches are just because the game is a little bit complicated and they couldn't have possibly seen all of the ways every little thing can interact in the game.
Exactly.
The game without any glitches would still be fun, but the infinite replay value comes from combining everything in such a way that you usually get glitches, doing all these weird little things. Like
freezing time, separating Mario from his body, getting infinite speed, literally infinite, like the float value infinite speed.
Right. I didn't even mention your channel here, but your channel was kind of like so if Panon's channel was like the first, okay, so it was the first time in a long time I had been like, holy shit, people are discovering new things about this game. Yeah. Your channel was the second, because your channel just had this treasure trove of interesting things I had never heard of in the game before. And, by the time I was looking at your channel, which was like 2014 or something, I was like, how are people still discovering new things about this game? It's like an oil well that isn't drying up.
Yeah, exactly.
And even with Decomp, we're discovering new things about the game. Like, I feel like we're just going to be discovering new things about this game literally forever. And if we don't, then we're still going to find ways to, make ways to have fun.
Yeah.
New strategies, ROM hacks. It's infinitely extensible.
And you can't say that about most games. Most games,
you cannot.
Most games is like, all right, you beat the game, you did all the content, you messed around with some glitches, and then that's kind of it. The game kind of gets old, SM64
the game
is so varied, and there's so much you can do.
Very open.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of a game that even comes close to the openness, the sandboxiness of Super Mario 64. Even sandbox games that are sandbox games are still...
They don't have the movement that SM64 has.
Yeah, they don't have the movement. They don't have the intricate strategy, and they're so sandboxed that there are no glitches because they knew you could try everything. So you're not going to find anything new or interesting about it. Or perhaps everything is new and interesting, so nothing is new and interesting.
Exactly.
It's the nugget of, wow, maybe I'm the first one to discover this. Or what is the reason behind this?
Yeah, that's... Dang. So basically, subscribe to my YouTube is what you're saying.
Yeah, actually, go back. I don't know if you've unlisted any of them or anything like that.
I haven't unlisted anything.
Good. Go back and I would binge through them. I would grab a beer or something like that and just have an autoplay of 1TED59 on YouTube, to just because I bet there are still things that you discovered on that channel that kind of flew under the radar and are still things that people never looked into. People haven't known about this. They didn't know it worked.
Yeah.
But now with Decomp, you can actually go. There's no mysteries anymore, kind of. I mean, there are still mysteries, but
it's really easy. You have a really powerful flashlight to shine on them.
Right, exactly.
Dang. Now I gotta look through my old videos. That's what I'm gonna do tonight.
Yeah,
nice.
Hell yeah. Narcissism. It's fun.
Yeah, let's go.
It's fun.
Dang,
and, shout outs to narcissism, it really gets me through the night.
You gotta love
I would say, check out my old videos too. You can hear a really cute old voice talking about shit people have known for a very long time. Bob-omb glitch. I have a video on the L is real, that plaque.
Oh man, yeah, the classic.
I have
L
a
is real
video
plaque.
where I conjecture that that plaque is Japanese letters, and no one had ever thought of this before.
Huh.
I was like, what if they just wrote Japanese and it was just kind of compressed?
Yeah.
And then I don't think I had the video editing skills to go but I did on MS Paint go and try to find out the Japanese letters that corresponded to it. And they did actually, it was so funny. It did kind of look like Hyrule. I didn't know anything about Japanese, but I was like H-I-R-U and L-E were all kind of like involved in Japanese. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe not L-E, but and I was like, oh, it kind of looks like Hyrule. And then I noticed that it was it was also in Ocarina of Time. It was also text in Ocarina of Time. So I was like, I don't know, like Japanese. Had anyone thought of that? Anyway. So
Secret
I have all sorts of shit
SM64
on there.
mystery solved after 20 years.
Yeah, solved for good. Well, actually, I uploaded the video in 2009, so it's been
Well, yeah, but
secretly
no one
solved
saw it
for.
until now. People are
Right.
now. It's going to get billions of views after this podcast.
Of course, it's gonna go viral.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dang, that was it. No one's ever been like, I watched your YouTube. I've never heard that before. That's a good feeling.
Yeah. No, I didn't even think about that until just now. I was like, I remembered you from the Facebook group chat. And I knew, of course, you were the admin of the Discord.
Mhm.
And then I was like, oh, yeah, I watched all of your videos when they were being uploaded. You would upload like in batches of like 20, and they would have this Android. It was like you were playing on an
I did
emulator.
it with my phone, dude. I did it on a phone
Yeah.
emulator.
I remember being so impressed because, so one thing about Mario 64's movement is that, here's I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion. I think Mario 64 has one of the best camera systems of any game ever. The camera looks at things you want it to look at almost always. There are some glitches and there are some annoying things, but more often than not, without even thinking about it, it's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And yet you can still change it in ways where it looks like, in the off chance you need to, you can still change it. I've never been like frustrated with the camera, but I've been frustrated with the camera in every game since then. Odyssey has terrible camera in my opinion.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
Like
guess
I don't
it's
even
hot
like the
takes.
Mario 64 mods that give you, like 8 degrees of like camera utility. I don't even like those because like they don't look at the things you want to be looking at in the levels.
That's
Like
fair,
there's so
yeah.
much baked in shit in the game where it's like, look at I don't know, an example is like, look at the hole in Hazy Maze Cave. Like, just look at it, and you're going to navigate around it. I don't know. Anyway, I really like the camera system, and what I was getting with that is that playing that game on keyboard is totally fine. Like, you can kind of get good at that.
Yeah.
It is a little bit weird if you want a particular angle. It's a little difficult. You kind of have to play with the camera a bit for that.
Yeah.
But keyboard is fine, and of course, the original N64 controller is totally fine too. But
I don't know about
I was
that
like,
one.
I like it. I actually like it more than Hori Minipad or GameCube contrler
Well,
for
the
the game.
joystick needs some work, but either way. Sorry, keep going.
Either way, I actually like. Believe it or not, I like the joystick a lot.
Really?
It feels. Maybe it's just a nostalgia factor, but I think it has a particular feel to it that was designed properly for this. It's not mushy in any way. If you have
That's
a nice
true.
controller,
That's true. Problem is having a nice controller. That's the issue.
Right. I wish someone would make like retro N64 game controllers that were
They have
like the
steel
originals.
sticks.
Yeah. Anyway, so what I was saying is that with your videos, I was like, okay, I understand keyboard, I understand controllers, but Android?
How is he doing it on a touch screen?
How did you do that?
I don't know. I'm really good at it too. Like I've done 120 stars in the touchscreen. I've got I did it pretty okay.
I think I've tried that a few times, and my left thumb would always flit off the screen, and I would like imbalance the screen and throw the phone or something.
Oh no.
It's hard to keep your thumb on the screen and like press A and B in the exact right position with no tactile feedback. I don't know.
I don't know. I was great at it. It's been years now. Now I'm just okay.
Right. Yeah, same with me with keyboard. I was getting pretty good with I could do the key 2 skip with keyboard, absolutely no problem. Yeah. Sometimes even better than I was better on keyboard than controller for certain things. which makes
Like what?
sense in some way. The key to skip, I think I was a bit better on keyboard. The cannon was always a big problem. I would try to avoid cannons as much as I could.
Oh yeah,
I
because you
don't know
couldn't aim precisely. Yeah.
right. I would have to go and modify the sensitivity for that.
Huh.
But other things like bomb clip. For me, bomb clip is the like quintessential keyboard thing for me because it's
Really?
just like it's really easy on keyboard, and for me, it's rather difficult to get the exact right angles on a controller.
Oh, you need to
I don't
just do
know.
the setup. It's pretty nice and free.
Yeah, I guess I don't know the setup. I'm still stuck in like 2013 or whatever
That's true.
for most things.
Oh man. Okay, this is going on pretty long, so I'm gonna move on to the next section. As much as I want to keep talking about my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So here, let's go into some slight, quick questions.
Sure.
So these aren't the
Lightning
rapid
round.
fire. The rapid fire ones are still to come. So
Okay. So medium round.
length. Yeah. So okay, what was your favorite video quiz to do?
What do you mean by like which
that
task?
you participated? Yeah. Which task?
I think that my favorite task, or at least the one that sticks out in my mind, besides the final task, which again was do one task per level, which was insane. I mean, it was 30 minutes long and just a marathon, crazy. But I think my favorite one was in Rainbow Ride. There was one where it was get tricky triangles without hitting the button to make them triangles. And it's like, okay, like that's not hard, right? Most people could probably do that. You do like a particular triple jump or something like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a hard task. It was like one of the earlier ones, like task 7 or 6 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, fuck it. I'm going to spend all weekend trying this by BLJing off of that elevator in...
Wow.
in where the amazing...
Near the red coins. Yeah.
Near the red coins. So you go on the elevator, you jump off the elevator, you wait for it to come back up, and you start BLJing, and you aim precisely at the tricky triangles star, and then you just ground pound onto it. And I managed to do that. If Stick, edit that in. I can even provide you the link because I'm still proud of that.
I made it. I did it. Oh yeah. Guess what? This is the first time in, let's see, 80 plus 100. 180 tries, and I get it twice. I am so happy right now. This is the happiest I've been in 3 weeks. No kidding. I'm not even kidding.
I love that task, so that's my favorite.
Dang, yeah, that's... Wow, I would have never even considered that. That's... Wow.
It's swag, or whatever they said back then.
That is
swag.
the definition of what that is. It's
Yeah.
overkill swag just to be cool.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the next one. So, what is your favorite SM64 glitch, and why is it the placeholder Baba?
I think if maybe a cop out answer would be like moat door skip or something like that.
Yeah.
Or perhaps even the watch for rolling rocks 0.5 ABC. That's a good one too. If you could even call that a glitch, because it's really just a wonderful
strategy
to get this done. A collection of glitches, but I think placeholder bomb really does hold a special place in my heart. It's cool that you really can peek into the game's internals just by doing this one glitch.
It's literally
and it gives
a use after free.
Right, it's a use after free bug, or an equivalent thereof.
Yeah.
And it lets you peek into what the game is thinking about. It's like what is the game dreaming about right now? It's like looking into the game's dreaming. It's almost like
you get to see behind the curtain.
Yeah, like this is a game. It's just code. It's not like it's not what it appears. It's both illusion breaking and really interesting. So there's just something kind of I keep thinking of the word spiritual, but that's not the right word. But there's something like cool, about that glitch in particular. So that one.
That's as good of an explanation as any of the other ones we've heard. Dang.
Sure. Oh, have you asked that one to other people? And they're always
that's happened every time. Everyone has a different glitch. It's great.
Yep.
I think, and I also do a different one. Somebody I was like, why is it time stop? Somebody I was like, why is it astral projection? There's so many crazy glitches.
But in this case, I totally agreed with you.
Yeah. I mean, I like them all. I like all the glitches.
I like all the glitches too.
Most of the glitches. I don't like the soft lock glitches.
Those are a little annoying.
Yeah,
Actually, I like the one in my favorite soft lock. If we were to have a favorite,
Okay,
is
what's
the
your
one
favorite soft lock?
in it's in the castle lobby where you
Yep.
dive into the. So you're on the kind of like second floor, about to go into the
Above
or
the,
you're on the go into the second door. Like you go into the like left part towards Bowser in the Dark World.
Yeah.
You like dive into it and you kind of you make that noise over and over again.
Yep.
I like that one.
That was a great noise. Can you make that noise again?
That's not even right. It's like a I don't know. Please clip those.
Please edit that. Just make that a separate upload.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stick. Yeah, that's a good soft lock. That's of all the soft locks, I think that's probably one of the better ones because it's so silly.
Yeah. And you can, in some levels, if you do the same one, you can pause exit out of it, which is useful because you can actually keep playing the game.
Dang, that's like I'm gonna steal that. What's your favorite soft lock? I'm stealing that question for the other ones.
Okay, do that one for the next ones.
Dang, that's good. Okay, next one. What is your favorite task?
My favorite task. That's
Let's
a
say
good
other
question.
than one key because we've mentioned one key too much.
Yeah, we have talked about that a lot. I would also say like 120 star, like the most recent 120 star is kind of the cop out. I'm gonna have to think about that. And I would another like kind of cop outy answer, but it's probably the truth is that original 16 star task I saw in like 2005 when tasking was brand new.
Yep.
That one has a special place in my heart because I was just like, what the fuck? It was like a mind blower to my like 7-year-old self, 6-year-old or whatever. There are free runs, and they're deep into my favorites list on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
And I remember there are a couple that really I liked a lot, and I just haven't watched in years and years. So it would probably be one of those. So I don't really like the concrete answer is probably that ancient 16th star run, but the true answer is probably some free run that I've completely forgotten about by now.
Some random free run that you loved as a kid, but you just don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty fair. There's some fantastic free runs, like
wonderful free runs.
The free running ability of SM64. That's something I've never seen in any other game.
Yep. You can't do that I've seen free runs for Tony Hawk Pro Skater, weirdly enough, and those are pretty fun.
Yeah. Well, that's also a game with like fantastic movement.
Yeah, another game with great physics and a kind of sandbox-like ability to do stuff. But yeah. Oh, my favorite. I guess maybe my favorite task is the shout out to Simple Flip's Tony Hawk Pro Skater ROM hack fake video task thing. I don't even know what to call that, but that video is so funny.
I don't know who did that one. Was it CSZ? I think
maybe.
I'm sorry if I'm getting this wrong, but either way, that one is a fantastic one because you get to literally they're getting points for Mario 64 glitches.
That one was I loved that, and all the little names they came up with, you kick the sign 5 times and it said something like that, message received or whatever. That was so funny.
Oh man, dang! I was never even thinking of that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that had I not mentioned Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next question.
Okay.
Next question: who is your favorite member of the old SM64 community?
Yeah, Mr. Robert Z for sure. Like he was nice and accommodating. He'd always make little funny remarks if I was a little kid, so I would like sing while I was, doing the tasks. He was just really nice. And niceness wasn't necessarily a hallmark of the community back then, or even up until rather recently, if it even is now. Like he was just a nice person. Curtis Bright, same kind of thing. I never actually personally talked to him, but his the way that he went about the Mario 64 website and the things he put on it were really inspirational. So those kind of guys, Dom Dunk, kind of those guys.
Oh yeah, super
were all
old school.
really.
Dom Dunk is still around, actually.
Really?
It's crazy. Yeah, I know, right? He literally discovered 16 star.
Yeah, I know. I mean, back in 2003 or 4 or whatever, and he's still kind of hanging around.
That's crazy
cool
to me.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. What is your favorite era of the community? That's a hard one.
That is a hard one because all of them are really special to me. I mean, I have maybe a top 3, right? Like the Game FAQs era, the Decomp era, and the Facebook group chat era.
Yeah.
So any of those, and for different definitions of favorite, are probably the answer. For a nostalgia factor and the fact that I was a little kid with a bunch of time and just a heart full of Mario 64 love, it would be the Game FAQs one. The fact that I was a fly on the wall in a major historical event would be why I loved the Facebook one.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm actually able to give back finally and, use my skills for good, MIPS to MIPS, is why I like the current kind of decomp era. So I'm going to cop out and say all three.
That's fair. I mean, it's hard to. It's like picking your favorite
child.
Yeah, exactly.
I can say which ones are my least favorite, but I can't tell you which ones are my favorite.
That's true.
Don't care much for Job.
I don't like Job. Big shout outs to Arrested Development.
Yeah, great show.
Great show. You should watch it after this.
Yeah.
Stick, edit that in. Edit in the entirety of Arrested Development.
Can you edit in Arrested Development, please?
Yes, please, Stick. Please. Just deal with Universal. Somebody. Fox.
Yeah.
Fox. Definitely Fox.
Just pay him off. Pay him
exactly.
off.
Anyways. So, what do you think will happen in the next era?
Yeah. The next era is going to be cool. Next era is going to be... So you've probably seen, Simple Flips. All of his videos are by the way, Simple Flips, if you're watching this,
shout outs.
Hit me up. I will make you the best decomp ROM hack you've ever seen. If you reach out to me personally, because I'm a guy who's motivated by fame. I want fame and fortune.
He's a narcissist.
So hit me up. I'm a narcissist.
Yes, aren't we all?
I think ROM hacks. So here's what I think. The next era is going to be, from my perspective, it's always going to be from my perspective, but the next era is going to be full of mind-blowing ROM hacks and lots of them. Also bad ROM hacks, but just lots of ROM hacks in general.
Lots of ROM hacks. No one said they had to be good. They just had to exist.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a final push for decomp discoveries. So I think we're going to actually use the simulator. We're going to use decomp, and we're going to use all these forces to squeeze the last drops out of the Mario 64 engine to discover everything we can and solve ABC once and for all. As in, prove either, of course, that 0A presses in 120 is possible, or prove that it isn't. I think there will be a moment when we can pretty definitively say whether or not certain ABC stars are possible or not. We're going to have zero key. That's going to happen because it'll be Ace. No, I don't know. I don't actually know. I don't think Ace is possible. But if it is, that would be a wonderful bookend on the task progression of Mario 64 to have something like that.
Definitely. It's funny. I actually bet Mr. Cheese $20 that U.S. time stop would not be found before Ace.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
I'm really on that
What
Ace
if neither
push.
is found?
If neither is found, I don't know anything. But I'm really on that Ace push.
Yeah. I think Ace, I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility. But I also, it doesn't look too good. We've looked at the code for so long.
All the regular spots are just so close, but you just can't.
Yeah.
What was the one that was the closest, I think, recently? Spiny adoption?
Yeah, Spiny adoption is very close, but no cigar. It's basically the thing is it writes to lots of memory based on an arbitrary changeable thing. So it's kind of like level 2 of changeability. You can change something that changes a pointer, but unfortunately it's a restricted range of things that you can change that pointer to. So you can't quite write to arbitrary code. You can only change kind of random points of memory.
It's
but
the downsides of everything being like the same size instead of Ocarina of Time.
Which is full of random objects of varying sizes, yeah.
Yeah, so that has easy Ace. They can do whatever they want.
Right.
Dang.
But yeah, I think next era is going to be a lot. The last drops of amazing discoveries and a lot of really cool ROM hacks. And we're going to end up. There will be less and less. It's kind of depressing, but the hype will die down a little bit.
The game is 23 years old now?
Yeah.
So, as sad as it'll be for it to finally have everything figured out, that we're not to that point yet, and I think it'll have definitely served its purpose.
I think so too. I think we've gotten so much enjoyment out of this game, and there will be infinite enjoyment, especially in the era of ROM hacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That especially if we find like a beta version or something like that, if that gets released, I mean, it's not dead yet, and it won't be dead for another long time. It just might be a little dormant. Yeah.
It's a great way to look at it. All right. We have 2 more sections left. Number 1, rapid fire. Give me your best answer to these. You can explain it a little bit if you think it's a good question.
Yeah.
But it's rapid fire. So.
Gotcha.
Number 1, favorite SM64 community meme.
Guys, stop chatting and emote suggestions. I like that one a lot.
The Discord meme. Stop chatting.
The Discord meme.
Discord meme. That's pretty good. It's useful. Useful meme too.
It's useful.
Here we go.
Actually, wait. I take that back. It's okay. It's just okay. I don't know why I didn't say okay. I didn't think of it. It's a decomp meme.
Decomp. Okay. Yeah, there we go. That's a meme.
That's a better answer.
That is. I don't know about better, but that is an answer.
Okay.
See, you used it. Yeah, I heard that. Okay. Next one. Not your favorite. Who was the coolest SM64 old school person?
That would be Miles Buckram. So I mean, of course, there was a bit of fall from grace. It's kind of sad, but he did submit a cheated, 16-star world record. But he was just cool, man. Miles style. Like, he had a lot of really cool videos. I would say he was one of the coolest people around.
Yeah. Even today, I still sometimes can hear him. He actually still makes videos. Did you know that?
Yeah, I look at they're mostly like Mario Kart still, right? Or does he do other stuff now?
Exercise videos.
Oh yeah. I remember the when he did the underwear lotioning myself. Edit that out.
Okay. Big shout out to
I'm friends with him on Facebook too. He's pretty cool. He's interesting guy.
Very interesting guy. Okay, next one. Which is the favorite of all the Let's Plays that you've done?
Oh, I never completed any. Wow. Pikmin 2 got the furthest. I had a lot of fun zingers in there. Pikmin 2, definitely.
There you go. Pikmin 2. Why is that?
I had a lot of fun recording it. I actually had some capture software that I could finally. It was my first real LP. The other ones were done with fucking camera, or like recorded from my computer or something like that. Mm-hmm. My voice changed in the middle, which was kind of funny.
Oh no!
And I don't know. I recall it being pretty funny. I should go back and watch it someday. But so I had this whole extra channel called Quate LPs. You could go look at it still. From
still
2000. Up. I don't remember. It was my second channel, so it was like 2010 to 2012 or something like that. So I was in between middle and high school, and yeah, I don't know. It was I had a lot of fun making those, even though I never completed any of them, which was sad. I can never finish anything. It's kind of a thing in my life, but whatever. It is what it is, and it was pretty funny. I think people might actually even still like it, So.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next one. On that topic, you mentioned in your famous video, answering a few questions and things where you tried and failed to do lobby backwards long jump, that you were going to do a Let's Play of We Love Katamari.
Yeah.
When do we expect to see that? When is that coming out?
2030. In 2030. It's been, and I think I said it in the video. I don't know why you're asking me such a stupid question, but in 2030, I am going to do a We Love Katamari Let's Play. So stay tuned. Get ready. I'm still in kind of the preparation. I'm still writing the script.
Of course.
I'm still
the extended
anchoring
universe,
out the details of the extended universe. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be part 1 of 3. The second LP, I finally decided actually last year that the LP I'm going to do after that, which will be, again, part of the extended We Love Katamari Let's Play universe, is going to be Katamari Forever. So stay tuned for that. I have not decided what part 3 will be yet.
I don't know. Might want to do the original.
It could be Katamari Damacy re-rolled as well.
That's true. Updated for modern era. Well, by then it'll be 10 years old, but yeah, that's true.
2030.
All right. Now we have some quotes. I did some deep dives onto your accounts.
Excellent.
Well, you might have figured that because I mentioned an old video from like 2008.
Yes.
But I looked over your old Twitter.
Oh, no.
Don't worry, they're not too bad.
Okay.
Here we go. Well, I wouldn't read a too bad one. Come on.
Okay.
First one. Random. I hate the words possessive and cynical. The first made me come fourth in school spelling bee. The other made me come second in class spelling bee.
Yes.
Can you spell possessive and cynical right now?
I sure fucking can. P-O, 2 S's.
2 S's, okay.
E, 2 S's.
2 S's again.
I-V-E, possessive. And so what I got wrong is I think I put 1 S in one of those. I think I did like P-O-S-E-S-S or something like that. So sad. And I got fourth. I mean, that's pretty good. I still remember that. And I also remember when I got cynical wrong. That was really sad because I cried in class. That was 8th grade. And I know the girl I liked was in that class too. So that was just such a nightmare. Because I had prepared for like 5 weeks. You know, I wanted to be those kids who got on TV who like did the National Spelling Bee stuff. So yes, I can spell cynical, C-Y-N-I-C-A-L. I don't know how I got that wrong. Actually, no, I don't. I think I got that wrong a long time ago. It was actually before the 8th grade one where I cried. The answer, because that hadn't even fucking happened yet. I got wrong haughty, H-A-U-G-H-T-Y in 8th grade. So that's another word I hate. Three words I hate.
Dang, that's a word. That's an actual word.
Yeah, that was hard.
I just spelled it H-O-T-T-I-E.
That's what I did.
Here we go. On to the last one of the rapid fire questions. Lists have no use to me, but if you want to join my Mario 64 players list, let me know so I can add you. Can you add me to your Mario 64 players list?
Yep, just added you.
Cool.
You're on a list of 1 containing yourself.
No one else asked you to add? That's so sad.
Well, lists are of no use to me.
Oh, that's true.
So
I guess
people didn't want it.
Kind of played yourself.
That's hilarious, though. That's actually really funny because I don't have any idea what the context of lists have no use to me is. I love lists. I love lists of things, so I don't know why I said that. I must have had like a small fender bender with a list or something like that, where like I remember once in like I think it was like 4th grade, someone had a kill list.
Oh no!
Of people they slightly disliked.
One of those.
One of those things, and they got in trouble for it. So maybe I was still reacting to that all those years later. I don't know.
Maybe you get that grudge against lists.
Right.
Dang. So that was the end of the rapid fire section. We only got one section left. I know. This has been a long one. We can make it to the end. The last section are the ones that I'm contractually obligated to read, the Patreon questions.
Okay.
So we have 2 from Macrofe.
Okay.
Number 1. Should I put C and C++ on my resume? That's the entire question.
That's a good question. So I actually, I went to Caltech and I work at company, stuff like that. So I actually do know the answer to this. You should probably only put those on your resume if someone were to kind of try to get you and they ask you, an interview question and they force you to write it in C++. I don't know you that well or at all, really, so I can't tell you whether or not you should put those on your resume, but you should only put those on your resume if you're comfortable writing Hello World, at least. Maybe also something like FizzBuzz, just a simple function in C and C++. So put them on your resume only if you can write FizzBuzz in those languages, for example.
Man, FizzBuzz, that's pretty hard,
we joke. I mean, it actually does get a lot of people get it wrong.
That's true.
And so it's not hard, but only do it if you can't get called out for it.
That's a very good piece of advice. Dang, I'm going to use that. I'm going to take those off my resume.
Yeah.
Dang.
I've taken things off my resume. I mean, it's shorter is almost better sometimes with resumes.
Yeah.
Don't put it. People can see through the BS pretty easily.
Yeah, like, oh man, I definitely know Rust.
Right. Like I would never put like Rust I've written some Ruby and I wouldn't even put Ruby on my resume,
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Here we go. On to the next one. This is a pretty popular one for Macrofe. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
Let's find out. A 1, to 2, to 3, to 3.
3? Final answer?
Yep.
Dang. There we go. That was the question.
Actually, I remember that commercial. You've seen that commercial, right?
Of course.
Yeah. I remember later at night, sometimes they would play the extended version.
There's an extended version?
Yeah. So it turns out the little kid doesn't just go to the owl. First, he goes to the I don't even remember, the tortoise or something, and the tortoise takes forever. And he's like, I'll never finish this. I'm making this all up. But basically, he goes to different animals, and it's like 2 minutes long.
Oh my god!
It's really cool. Go look at this. Because it's like not just nostalgic. I hated this commercial because it would come on constantly, but I really liked the secret extra like deleted scenes that they would never air except late at night. So yeah.
Dang, we got some Tootsie Roll history.
Yeah. Tootsie Roll history. If you haven't noticed, I have a little bit. I mean, my memory is like above average. Like I remember things pretty well.
Oh, I forgot.
I'm not going to say that my memory is perfect because I mean earlier I said things like I don't really remember the Skype or the MSN that well, but like I don't know, things like this.
Yeah,
stick in my mind for some reason.
I mean, that's the point of advertisements. They're designed to stick into your mind.
That's true. That's how they get you.
Mm-hmm. Dang! Shout outs to Tootsie Pop. Make sure to sponsor Ukikipedia.
Yeah, that'd be a good sponsor.
It would be a good sponsor. Yeah, and hook me up too.
Hell yeah, those are good. Those are tasty. I'm not
tasty.
even getting paid for this. They're just tasty.
Eat a Tootsie Pop today. Tootsie Pop,
kids.
You love them. That's the new
catchphrase.
That's the new catchphrase.
Tootsie Pop, you love
them. You're not wrong. They're good.
They're good.
Okay. Anyways, on to some more questions. This is from Josh. Josh Duman.
Oh, hi Josh.
Yeah, hi Josh. Big fan. Is there anyone from the old groups that you miss from the community?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I miss Robert Z. He was so nice. I miss everyone who was around then, who isn't around now. I remember just randomly. I remember like Josiah is a guy who would post sometimes, and he had some interesting insights sometimes. And he wasn't even like a major contributor or anything. He would just post, and it was nice to see his name around. Dom Dunk, I guess, is still around apparently, but I don't see him around that much. Yeah. Curtis Bright, of course, obviously has like a real life and stuff now, but all the major players, and there are some people who passed away too. Who I don't say passed away. There were some people who died, who were in the community. I've never said passed away before, so I don't know why that came out. But it's kind of sad. Like obviously, like this community's been through a lot, and
yeah, because it's been like 2 decades. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bound to happen. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, there are definitely people I miss. But some people just move on too, So and for some people it wasn't a nice community. So like in that way I'm happy that they don't have to suffer through anything anymore. But for the most part people were pretty cool, and it was cool to see people's discoveries and stuff. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
there's
a
ups
great
and
way to
downs.
say it. Definitely, of course you're going to miss some old people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we basically kind of already went over this one, but how did you feel about Miles' splicing drama?
Yeah, that was really sad. I was really, really disappointed about that. I remember the moment I read that. It was freshman year in college. That run had been pretty influential to me. I mean, I was already like high momentum. I was already in the group, the community, so I wouldn't say that like that particular run was any sort of special inspiration, but I remember when it came out, it was really hype, and it's very sad to know that it was fake. And Miles was obviously dealing with some personal issues and drama and stuff like that. So I wouldn't go as far to say like he hurt anybody by doing this. He didn't hurt me anyway. I can't speak for others, but it was disappointing. It was sad. But it's also, looking back on it, kind of interesting. It's like an interesting monument, an interesting like event in the history of Mario 64.
Like it's been long enough where we can look back at it now and actually like analyze it, study it. Yeah. Think about it as a moment in history, not like as a thing that upset people. Yeah. So he apologized. I think I don't remember anymore. I don't really care that much, but it was a big deal. It was a big deal. Dang, because that was like right as I started joining the community. So I like joined, and then it was like, oh, this guy cheated, and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, it mattered. Miles doesn't discredit him. In my opinion, it doesn't discredit him at all. He wanted everything, and he had everything -1. So he was like, I might as well get this too, even if he had to cheat for it. He had everything in the sense that he had this like wonderful array of videos that are unprecedented. I mean, even today, he had things that people had never seen before, just like your channel, except more. Like
he'd been around for longer. Yeah,
right. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It was a big deal.
There you go. And finally, the last question before the other question.
Yeah, but before all the other questions after it.
Yeah. How do you feel about the overall progression of SM64? Were you shocked to see one key, watch for rolling rocks, 120-star tasks, etc.?
Yeah, I think all those were really important moments. Like I can kind of remember where I was when I first saw them. How do I feel about it? I am glad the community is a little more inclusive, and I'm glad I'm less of an asshole. I used to be an asshole, kind of. I mean, I was a kid, so you can't blame me, but
everyone's an asshole in middle school.
Everyone was in middle school, and everyone was an asshole in middle school. So it was kind of a toxic community, and I'm glad it's less like that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, if you were to think of a timeline from 2000, or from 1996 until now, there's been a pretty even spacing of like big deals, and each of them for me as a historical event is really interesting. So I would say the community's come a long way, and I'm glad it's stayed interesting the whole time with small lulls.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's definitely, I would agree with everything you just said.
Yeah.
There we go. That was the last of the Patreon questions. I have one more question.
Okay.
And it's
one for the road.
The cop-out question. Anything you really want to talk about that I haven't mentioned?
No, I think, well, okay, let me think about that for a second before I just say no. I do have to go to the restroom, so we are going to have to cut this off, but, it's been almost 2 hours, actually. It's crazy.
Yeah, it has been almost. This is going to be a long one.
Long episode.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you. Sincere thank you. And I'm not just saying that, people say things like that pretty coyly sometimes, but I legitimately and sincerely want to thank this community. All the people I did and didn't mention for being a part of it, because this game has meant so much to me. It's got me through a lot. It's been kind of like a cosmic microwave background radiation of my life, if not more important than that. From all the people contributing to TAS, to all the people contributing to RTA, GDQs and people organizing things like this, as well as all the exploring, the people doing the exploring, people who found one glitch and moved on, people who found one glitch and used that as a claim to fame. Everyone has contributed to this game in some way, be it big or small. And, I just want to thank everybody for that. Despite any sort of drama or toxicity or anything like this, it's still just all about the game. Like the game matters most. And thank you to Nintendo, of course, for writing a game like this. Like it's just fantastic.
Thank you so much for playing my game.
Thank you so much for playing my game. That's I don't know if I cried necessarily, but I definitely felt emotional when I listened to that song. That
it's
song.
The best credit song. Like.
It's a wonderful
crazy.
song.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a thanks. There are some people. I didn't come up with a list of people to shout out, so I'll say like shout out to Bob Mario 511. He was pretty cool. We still talk sometimes, and
really?
Sonic Packer, and all these people I ended up friending on Facebook, like Kaiman, and Panon, of course, Tyler. I don't want to go on a laundry list of people to shout out, so I will keep it at that. But if I didn't mention you, it's not out of spite or anything. It's just I didn't come up with a list of people to thank. So thank all the people.
Dang. Well, there you go. I think that was a pretty good podcast.
I had fun. I had a good time. Thank you. You're a good host.
Thank you for being on here. This has been the Ukikipedia Podcast, episode 3. Let's say 3.
4, 3,
3 or 4. We've been iffy with numbers today. It's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Just like Eris.
Yeah, exactly. So, I've been your host, 11059, interviewing Quate.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
So long. We did it. I'm going to stop recording.